We want revolution.
Bookmarklets on standby.
Log online, fan page loaded and ready.
Player stats, loaded. Health check, go.
Weapons check. Eyes check. Complete.
We have launched for the Informant podcast in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the Informant Podcast, your new source for information regarding Mafia wars from Zynga. Pistol Pete from Spockholm.
Live long and prosper.
And tonight I have with me Jana, Mig, Death by Gucci, and Jennifer, the Mafia Wars Loot Lady. So, what's been going on with everybody?
Not a whole lot. Still reeling in from the mock, trying to get my Mafia War character back in order.
Catch up on some sleep and stuff like that?
Exactly.
Yeah, you did a lot of work for that.
It was fun, though.
Yeah, I had a good time, too. I didn't... Something that didn't air on the last show was that some people asked how I did in the mock, because it was the first one that I was able to get into, and aside from actually hitting the wrong person, I got the wrong spreadsheet and hit the wrong person. We had a lot of fun. It got pretty exciting, and I probably got into it a little bit too much. So
I loved seeing your posts.
Yeah,
they were awesome.
I heard they were funny, but I missed them. I couldn't find them.
They were good.
They're out
there.
They're
still on the wall.
What did he say?
Some riding the red ice train, and I took the Kamikaze Express, and I said this ice been brought to you by Bud Ice, and all
that's
kinds of
funny.
Stuff, so.
I think Ike
have
might have
fun.
made some funny ones too, because
Yeah.
I heard someone say something about his, but I missed those.
And I said if someone hadn't, and if you're not into drinking, then you can use regular filtered mountain water for your ice.
Ah,
It was fun.
It was a lot of fun, and it's actually interesting. We are working on a project over at Spockholm in preparation for the next mock war. We're going to do one in March for St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
And so
Awesome.
we are actually working on a registration system for wars. We're calling it the War Machine, and it's going to be something that the end user or the participant, all they're going to have to do to participate in a specific mock war is load up a little bookmarklet, and it'll load all their stats that need to be collected for the purposes of the mock, and then give them a little disclaimer that this information is going to be submitted to a database for the mock war, and then they'll get an opportunity to just click a button to submit it, and they'll be done with their registration. And then all the information that the people behind the scenes had a hard time collecting, gathering, filtering, and everything else will automatically be dumped in a database, properly sorted by Facebook ID and so on. There will be an opportunity to catch anybody that might have accidentally submitted duplicates. And
there was a lot of that.
yeah, and it'll allow us then to go in and actually tag people into different teams a lot easier than the other one, and then it'll automatically generate the spreadsheets for teams.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
and then
you can sleep, Jana.
Oh,
yeah, you
yes.
can sleep next time. That's true. And then we're probably going to go even a step further if I can manage to pull it off. We're hoping to have a prototype ready for when we're out in San Francisco, since there's going to be a lot of players out there to be able to show it off then. Is that one of the things I found in the mock, and I don't know whether or not you run into this because you do a lot more family fighting, Jana, is the have to switch off a Facebook profile in some cases to go ahead, or off the spreadsheet you have to click a link, and that link then opens up a framed Mafia Wars page.
Right.
And then in order to use any of the tools that like some of the families have for collecting your ices, forth, you have to unframe and then load your tool to make it work. So I got to thinking is, for those that are familiar with the checklist that Ike wrote, it kind of loads off to the side of the page. What if during the mock war, the targets that you're going to fight during your mock show up on the left-hand side in this little handy toolbar, and when you click a Mafia Wars link, it loads them without having to refresh the page.
I
so
love
that
it.
you could then have those people and target and attack and fight pretty darn quick. So I'm thinking that maybe by creating this database of users and then turn around now and be able to create a kind of a separate in mock war spocklet that you'll be able to go ahead and do that, and it might make the mocks a little bit more engaging as the day goes on.
No,
and
that
then,
sounds
and
awesome.
Then, and then possibly being able to, track ices, because now with it unframed, you can collect that information. So if an ice shows up on the screen, we could automatically capture that data and zip it off into the database, and then we can actually have some really good stats on the mock itself of, how many ices occurred, which team did the most ices.
Because people do want to know that.
Yeah, which individual was the one that did the most ices. And that could be really, really exciting. So that's kind of where we're heading, down the path of newness and greatness.
Well, that's got to be the coolest thing about the mock then, is getting you involved enough that you start thinking like a fighter.
Or
he's a scripter helping the fighter.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah.
And the fighters overall don't use bookmarklets, so it should be interesting.
But everybody knows how to use Switch.
I question if there's a lot more out there that do use bookmarklets that you just don't hear about much.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Just a hush, probably.
Yeah,
it's all a big secret. So that's the big thing that we got kind of brewing, and it kind of came out of this whole mock, and it became, I thought, at least a great opportunity for us at Spockholm to once again show why we're doing what we do. It's to make the game easier and build upon the community, outside this, in the game, but outside the scope of the game, because mocks are a lot more than just the game itself.
Exactly.
And so it'll be interesting.
I like where you're going with it.
That sounds cool.
Yep. That be that. That's pretty much all I've got to cover tonight here in the Spockholm report. What do you got going on, Jen?
Let's see. There's a new mission out called Dead Man Walking. It's a limited time mission, and it was started last night, but then a lot of players found it disappeared. So everyone was freaking out, and it turns out, and I don't know if this is true, this is just what somebody told me with a chat transcript to customer support, that the event was released early and then it was taken back. So it should be out tonight, is my guess. And I like the limited time missions. And
I do too.
I think other players do too.
Hey,
and this one wasn't hard. What did you notice, Pete?
Oh, I noticed that for some reason the limited time mission here has two different mission paths, just like the other ones do, which I'm guessing are the 100 and above mission and then the lower mission. But what I noticed is in the bar that's across the top, it only shows one button for whichever one of the missions. You are actually kind of forced to push the drop down menu to see the other mission. Which I thought was a little bit different than the way they were in the past, so I don't know why that changed. I kind of like that both your missions showed as little icons, at least, on the mission bar, and then if you wanted more details about progress and stuff, then you hit the drop down. But now you actually have to go to the drop down to be able to switch to the other mission to find out where you're at with it and whatever. It was a little bit different, but
it is. What happened is they also released Italy missions. So, and then even players like me, I've mastered Italy at the Ruby level. Well, I got this Italy mission, but I can't do it because I've already mastered.
Because you can't beat that boss because you've already gone past it?
I already beat him, so I can't even fight him. And this is also confusing newer players because they're assuming that the limited time mission, that Italy mission is part of it, and they're like, well, how can I master Italy in 7 days or however many days we have?
Right.
And it's not. It's two totally separate missions. So we have 4 types now. We have city missions, contract missions, limited time missions, and special event missions.
Oh, okay.
There's just a lot of different, or not, it's plus level plus 100 missions.
Right.
So there's 4 categories. So some players will have 4 missions going at a time, different types.
Right.
Wow.
And I think it's confusing people. And last night it was saying mission expired on the drop bar before they removed it.
Bummer.
So by the time people are listening to this, it should be out. And it's pretty cool. What I like about the grand prize, the lionfish, is that it's better than the giant Thai centipede that we've been staring at forever on our, when you fight.
So we'll get something different.
Now I have a lionfish instead of a centipede.
Cool.
Cute.
Yeah, so that's kind of exciting. So that's incentive to do the mission. So goodbye, giant centipede.
And I like the missions because most of the time you get fairly decent experience from them.
Right, that experience reward is nice too, especially if you're close to leveling it up.
Yeah, it's a nice
and hopefully
boost.
people are strategic about when to use it. Because
I have been.
Good. Yeah, you can choose when you claim your reward. So I like to wait until I need that extra amount of experience rather than just waste it.
Yep.
Yeah, it helps.
Yeah. And then there's a little hint to a new event coming called the Ancient Relic event. And it's just images that he writes a blog called Mafia Wars Secrets, and they were able to get the codes out or find the images in the server. And there's 3 items that will probably be free gifts. And we have no idea if this was a planned and canceled event or if it's going to come in the future, but it looks like one of the, gift 3 items, get these loot. Nothing too exciting about that, so we'll have to see. I would think they would wait till the Broken Heart event is over, but we've seen 2 gifting events running at the same time in the past.
Yes.
And speaking of the broken hearts, they've increased the level of how many hearts we can accept to 40 a day instead of 20.
Now
Is that because
that's only on your request though.
Right,
You
just
can still
from
get
free
the same.
gifts.
You can still get the same totals from individual fighting, robbing, or
Right.
jobbing.
And
Okay.
they seem to be dropping better now too, I've noticed, which because I'm getting more annoying pop-ups than I was in the past. So now you should be able to get more cardiac arrests. I have 2 of them already.
I'm working on my second.
So I want to get 3 at least, and then I'll be happy. And then the last thing I can think of is the Tundra Wolf is out now as a limited time item in the private zoo. But I cannot stress enough that there's no need to collect a bunch of these. If you're a collector, sure, get one. But it doesn't offer any special abilities. And people get confused and think, well, it has a great loot score, so I want to buy the item with the best loot score. Well, that sounds good, and it's going to be a temporary thing to increase your equipment scores. But then as soon as something's released that can replace it, it's no longer going to be any good. And you've essentially wasted an opportunity to make your character stronger. And these skill points are forever. And the loot, as we can see, is obsolete all the time. So
Right.
I would just really focus on picking what type of character you want to build and go for those items in your buildable properties.
Right. What do you need for that? What the new one? Is it the meat as well?
It's raw meat, but it's different raw meat. So they
okay.
took away all your raw meat that you had before, and then you got to start over.
Yeah, and that's kind of bogus. I mean, we
It
collect all
is.
these different things from ammunition to barrels of this and barrels of that, and I don't understand why they don't reuse them in some cases.
Yes, let's recycle.
Yeah.
Or throw a different one out there so we're not annoyed.
Yeah.
And it seems to be going in cycles. They've done 2 chop shops, 2 weapons depots, items. Now we're on our second zoo. But they use the same buildable part for each one, but then they reset it after the first one's over. That's about all that's going on right now. Nothing too exciting.
Everything will start just as we finish recording.
Yes. Oh, and one thing, that there was a loot item that some people found in the inventory called the Gray Fox. We found that started dropping in Atlantic City Chapter 4, where in the past, the parkour masters were dropping when they shouldn't have been. And I believe that's been fixed, and now we're getting these gray foxes. And the stats aren't too good on that either.
No?
No, I don't really see a need to do Atlantic City unless you're like obsessive like me and you want to finish everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And we are.
otherwise, it's, the energy cost is just too ridiculous, and you don't really get much loot for doing it.
Yeah. I'm done
Right.
with my Hollow Warriors. I got my 1 island hopper. I'm done.
No, get
You're
more.
stopping at 1?
Yep.
Me and Jenna have 5.
Well,
I
I don't
have
care.
9 now.
I got my 1.
9?
Yes.
How'd you get 9? We had
I don't know. I just
we had
keep getting
5 the other day.
See,
know, but I
don't
just-
want to be in this battle here.
contest.
This contest of who's going to have the most island hoppers, because I will always lose.
You will lose.
But I got my 1, so I can say that I got it part of my collection. Now I'm done collecting those island hoppers. I'm on to something else.
Yeah, those are fun to collect because you hope you'll get the island hopper, but then when you get like the jellyfish or that stingray thing,
Or
it's
the
very
gloves.
disappointing. Yeah, that hand it's kind of creepy. I don't like seeing that. And then you get disappointed, and it really sucks when you open 5 and get 5 of the same thing.
But when you open the island hopper, your heart skips.
Well, yeah, then when you get the island hopper, like I go to all my Skype rooms and tell everybody. Like, that's fun.
This is why Pete doesn't want to play.
I know, he doesn't like seeing.
You Skype it everywhere.
I know, I can't help myself.
I'm a Skype spammer, not me. Nope.
Well, anything else going on?
Nope, that's about it in Mafia Wars. I'm sure I forgot something.
Well, I'll let you think about it while we take a break.
Okay.
All right. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Bennett's delicious home-style popping corn.
Hi, I'm George Bennett with Bennett's Delicious Homestyle Popping Corn. You know, we've been producing the finest homestyle and gourmet style popping corn in this here country since 1839. Ha! That's right. Yeah, I remember those days buttering up them white fluffy malls or sitting on the back stoop sheep while the hound dogs wail, shining my trusty tube out. So the next time you're at your grocer, make it a box of Bennett's, 'cause at Bennett's, we make it for you.
Bennett's delicious home-style popping corn.
Since 1839.
We're back on the Informant podcast. We don't have Miggs Chainsaw Chester tonight, so we're going to go ahead and go to our trading segment with Churk the Turk. Hey, Chuck, what's going on?
Not much, Jana. How you guys doing tonight?
Very well, thank you. How about
Good.
you?
I'm good. I just had two things I wanted to cover real quick. The first one is the market. A lot of traders have noticed this. You know, a lot of them have talked to me about it. You know, the market itself is pretty much hit a lull right now. There's a huge demand for weapons parts and the portable fusion reactors. And on the opposite end of that, you've got a huge supply now of the mission high-end loot, you know, your Z-17s, your Grims. And what's kind of neat is the fact that it's driving the price of the mission high-end loot down if you've got the portable fusion reactors. They're going almost 1-to-1 right now, which is pretty phenomenal. And with your weapons parts, you can get 100 of the mission high-end loots for about 5,000 weapons parts. So a lot of guys that have been farming are starting to cash in on that. Until Zynga releases more giftable items, we're pretty much going to see this trend going on. But the big thing I wanted to talk about tonight is I've got another review on an awesome trading site called Kingpin Trading Market. And Jennifer, this is the site that you recommended to me a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I learned how to trade and actually play the game from that site.
Yeah, and those guys are great. I actually did an interview with one of the creators, Jefa Santiago, this morning. He and I just been playing phone tag, and we finally hooked up. And the story behind KTM is just pretty remarkable. Jefa and one of his best friends, they've been friends in real life in Detroit for 16 years, and they started KTM just over a year ago. And their whole purpose is, you know, they care about their traders as people, not as numbers. And
Nice.
To them, yeah, their whole motto is that the trader always comes first. They just switched recently, going from a group page to a business page. That way, they can get a little bit better security for their traders and protect their privacy a little bit better as well. With that, they're rebuilding their membership. They had originally just over 15,000. They've rebuilt it back up to just over 8,000. But the nice thing is that Jefa was telling me they've got close to 65% successful trades going on with all their members. One thing that really struck me in a very positive way about KTM, their website, it has a great how to trade segment. So if you're new to trading, I recommend you go to their website. Another thing they have too is this is great. They have what's called a loot calculator, where you just go ahead and type in what you've got and what you're looking for. It automatically figures out for you exactly what your loot items are worth.
Nice.
Yeah, that was very easy, and that's
I
that's
like
the one.
those.
Yeah. Oh, so do I.
It's confusing if you don't know how to make a ratio.
Right. You know, and having to remember all the different ratios in your head too. You know, I've got, you know, these many, you know, railgun barrels. What's it worth in armor parts? Type it in there, boom, it pops up right for you in not even 2 seconds. KTM, they founded several different landmarks that are used in the Mafia War world. For example, the Unified Trade Ratio. These were the guys who first came up with a trade ratio that was adopted by several different trading sites out there. They also came up with what's called the Unified Trade Admins, where the admins all go through their own little special training and qualifications they have to go through. Well, Jefa and his team, they're the ones who actually came up with the foundation for that. But yeah, all in all, I mean, KTM has probably got the best trading site I've seen in a very long time. I wish I would have known about them sooner because I would have been doing a lot more of my trades there because they're just so much smoother, so much easier, and everyone there is just really nice and friendly, and they love the game Mafia Wars.
David Reedy's one of the admin there. We've talked about him a lot.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, and they have someone on their wall 24/7. So like when I was brand new, I didn't even know how to use the chucker, and they all helped me figure it out. Some of the people I traded with, and I had great experiences there.
Well,
and
I've got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Oh,
if you
yeah,
just go in and say, I'm new at trading, they're going to work with you. They're not going to kick you off the wall unless you don't read the rules first. Can
I just tell them that Jennifer sent me?
You have to accept the admin as your friend.
Have to. Yeah, and that's one thing too is that a lot of trading sites have been saying that you've got to add all their admins. They've been, KTM is one, Elite and Loot Lounge, who I've done reviews on. They're changing now to where they only need you to have 3 admins accept your friend request before you can start trading, which is nice because Facebook, they keep cracking down on people for adding all these different people all in one shot. And KTM, they're actually the first ones who came up with, hey, just add the 3 admins. You don't need to add everybody.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah, because then you don't have to wait because not everyone's going to be online at the same time.
Exactly.
Right. I'm going to check that out. I haven't been.
I'll go with you, Jenna. I'll trade with you my first.
Yeah.
We
let's go shopping.
on the Insider Trading Tips fan page, we've got I did a really detailed out review of them. Their links to their site on Facebook is there, and the link to their actual website itself is on there as well.
Nice.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much. I
You're
actually
welcome.
learned a lot. I haven't known much about the whole trading world, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's
You're
fun.
welcome. And remember, you can get to our trading fan page, Insider Trading Tips. It's www.facebook.com/Insider Trading Tips.
Very nice.
Get my little plug in there.
So anyway, great show, guys. I'm going to go ahead and give a shout-out this evening to the Spocktonians. The big shout-out of the night goes to the
You're
Spocktonians.
very original.
All right, so there, Miss Bossy Pants. Who are you going to give a shout-out to, Jen?
I would like to give a shout out to all of those people who send me emails and inbox messages that I don't have time to respond to. One thing I would like to add is I'm not a customer support agent, so I can't help you get into your Mafia Wars account. I'm not a script writer, so when you have issues with your bookmarklets, I usually can't help you. And I recommend that when anyone has a game-related question, go to the sources. On my fan page, you can post any question you want on the wall, and most likely you're going to get 5 or 10 people who know the answer. And it's pretty immediate. And same with, like, if one of your Spockholm bookmarklets isn't working, they have a great user echo site. And specifically to get your questions answered. Zynga has a site similar to that called Get Satisfaction. I've seen people really get results with that because there's not that many members. So it's kind of like getting more personalized attention. And there's always customer support. And there's search bars on the blog. A lot of times I get questions about things I've already written about. And I would love to be able to respond individually to everyone's questions, but I just don't have time to do that. And that was kind of the purpose for the blog to begin with, was so I could answer a question that I get all the time and just refer people to that. So a shout out to all of those who I did not respond to. It wasn't intentional.
You're a very busy woman.
Yes, I try.
Jenna?
I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Anthony Palafox. He's a friend of mine in MIG that's been doing an awesome job of helping me translate a new recruit this week. So thank you,
Cool.
Anthony.
Mr. Churk.
I got a shout out to a couple friends of mine that are actually on their way to Daytona for the big Daytona 500 this weekend. So here's a shout out to Free Beer, Hot Wings, Eric Zane, and producer Joe.
Wow.
Free beer.
Free beer. We like that. And Hot Wings. We went with them last year to Daytona. They're on their way down there now. So
Fun. Daytona weekend.
Cool. All right, guys. That's a wrap.
Hey, Jen, where do you think they can find us?
They can find us on the web at informantpodcast.com. You can also find our fan page on facebook.com/informantpodcast.
Or you can leave us an email at tip@informantpodcast.com.
Hey, I think you can also find us on Twitter at Informant Pod.
And you can always leave us a rant on our rant hotline, which is 707-847-6852, 707-TIP-6852.
You have been listening to the Informant Podcast, the place where family is first.
I wanna cause, get 'em crashing to the brave new